So there's no questions, right? Up until now, everyone's good.
Oh, there was a question I asked in the first class where if there's no planets in a specific house.
If there's no planet in a specific house, we'll get to that. Right now, I want to focus on planets sitting in the house. And so just to give you a little recap, it's gonna kind of answer your question. The job, the job of a planet is to give you results of job of any planet is to give you a result of a certain house. Okay. And it will give you the results of the houses in three different ways. The first way is by being positioned in a house, which is what we have covered so far. Okay? So, which is what you asked. If there's a planet sitting in a house, it is going to give you a result of that house, including the houses it owns. So that's the second way it's going to deliver its results. There's three main ways it's going to deliver its results. The first way it's going to deliver its results is by sitting in a particular. The second way it's going to deliver its results is by owning one or multiple houses. Multiple as in it's not going to own more than two houses at the same time. And the third way it's going to influence a house or give you the result of a certain house is by aspecting the house, which is the aspects what we're gonna learn today. Okay. So to answer your question, you asked me, you just asked, if there's no planet sitting in a house, then the planet ruling that house is gonna give its effects or its results, and the planet aspecting the house. So we're gonna go over the aspects now. Cool.
All right.
No other questions before we move on to aspects? Okay, can you guys see my screen? Aspects.
Yes.
Okay. So these are the aspects. What do I mean by aspects? Aspects simply means that a planet is going to aspect other houses from where it sits. So if it's sitting, say, in the first house, you all know where the first house is in the birth chart. Every planet is going to aspect the seventh house from where it sits. Okay? So if you look at the aspects that I have mentioned in this list, and I'm going to explain why I have colored certain planets red while coloring the other ones green. Okay, so you can tell, except for Rahu and Ketu, every planet is going to aspect. Set the caption to language English. Every every planet is going to aspect the seventh house from where it sits, which means that it is interested. Okay, an aspect means a planet is expressing interest in those houses that it aspects, and it's going to influence those houses that it aspects. Every planet except for Rahu and Ketu is going to aspect. Every planet except for Rahu and Ketu is going to aspect the seventh house at the very least, which means it's going to aspect the house across from where it sits. Okay, we will do a bit of a practical after this as well, so I'll show you what that means. Then there are certain planets that have special aspects, which means that they have more than just the seventh aspect. They're able to influence more houses than just the house that is directly across from their position. Okay. Mars, for example, is going to aspect the fourth house and the eighth house from where it sits. And obviously the seventh house, because I already told you that every planet is going to aspect the seventh house from where it sits. So we can kind of put that aside. Now we're going to discuss the special aspects. Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter are the planets that have special aspects, which means they are given more aspects than just the seventh aspect. So Mars is aspecting the fourth and the eighth house from where it sits, including the seventh house. Saturn is given the third and the 10th aspect from where it sits, which simply means that from the position wherever Saturn sits, it's going to influence, it's definitely going to influence the house that it's sitting in, but it's also going to influence the house it's aspecting. Rahu and Ketu, although it's something, Rahu and Ketu are a little more of an advanced topic. Many astrologers do not consider their aspects. I personally do. So therefore, I'm going to tell you what their aspects are. They're going to look at and influence, and very strongly influence, the fifth and the ninth house from where they sit. And then there's Venus. Venus only has the seventh aspect from where it sits, which means that it can only influence the seventh house. Again, the seventh house would mean the house directly across from its position. Can you guys hear me? My Alexa, you can barely hear you. Am I clear? Am I clear, guys? You guys can hear me? Can I get a thumbs up if you guys can hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thanks. I just got
You just sound very far away. Like,
What about now? And if it's just you who can't hear me clearly, then it's probably
speaker, my computer speaker. Okay.
yeah, you may have to turn up the volume a bit. Okay, so everyone's telling me yes. Okay, so back to where we were. Jupiter also has two special aspects, the fifth and the ninth house from where it sits, including the seventh aspect, of course. Moon and Mercury are only given the seventh aspect. Does anyone have any idea as to why I colored certain planets red and the other planets green?
I'm thinking one side's malefic and the other side's benefic.
Yeah, very well done. One second. Yes, it's correct. So one side is the red colored planets are malefic and the green ones are benefic. And what that means is that when the planets colored in red when they deliver their results, the results that you will get the results. Say, for example, Mars is promising you property. Okay, it actually came up in a chart not too long ago. I was looking at with someone, and I discussed it with this person, and we were going over their chart. And I told her that you're very likely to buy property in the next coming year because her Mars time period was operating the following year, which was promising move and property. So it is guaranteed, or it's very, very highly likely to happen that they will buy property. But you got to keep in mind that if a planet is promising you a result, whether it's buying property or a profession or anything else, whether it's travel, it is going to do it in its own way, right? So if Mars is bringing you property, it's going to do it in its own way. Mars represents fights, conflicts, okay? Possibly even litigation. So when Mars is bringing you property, and it's going to deliver you the property or deliver you the results in their own way. If Saturn is bringing you property, it's going to bring you property in their own way, which means if Mars is bringing you property, there may be some sort of fights at home, or there may be fights when you're buying a property, or you may run into some sort of a conflict before you get the result, which is purchase of the property. Right? Saturn, as we discussed, also represents grief and pain and suffering. It also represents delays. So if Saturn is promising you property or vehicle during a certain time frame, it may come with some sort of tension, some sort of pain, some sort of a delay. Saturn also represents old. The property that you buy may be old. It all depends on what planet is delivering you the results. And that's why it's very important to keep in mind the nature of those planets. If you're buying property and it's coming to you in the Venus's time period. Venus is actually a very soft planet. Venus, Jupiter, Moon, and Mercury are softer planets. When they bring you property, or when they bring you a job, or anything that you are waiting for, whether it's childbirth, okay, you will or you should not face as many problems unless Venus is conjunct Mars, unless Venus is influenced by Saturn, so it gets complicated. I'm just telling you how to approach a situation, right? Just the very, very basics. So we got the malefics, the benefics. Okay. Any questions on that so far? Sounds like a no. We will do a little bit of some practical analysis today, okay? So we already know, but by now we know that there's 3 ways, okay? 3 ways a planet can influence houses or a birth chart. 1, by sitting in it. The other point is by aspecting it. And the third point was by ruling it, okay? So we're gonna go over some very basic, and I said in this course, we're gonna go over 2 main aspects of life, which is going to be finances and profession, because that's what you guys are going to come across the most, and then health and relationship is going to be less important. Okay, so I'm going to share something with you guys here, and maybe someone can tell me how this person can make money.
Can you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Did you say you have a question?
No, you asked a question. What was the question?
I didn't ask a question. Did I ask a
Oh,
question?
no, okay.
I said we're now gonna look at a chart, not a full-blown chart, but a chart, just to kind of give you an example. Someone comes to you and asks you, I I want to know in what ways I can accumulate wealth. Okay, who remembers what the house was for wealth?
Second, money.
10th was not money. Anyone else want to try?
Mm,
The second house.
Yes.
11th house.
no,
Nope.
that's what I said. I said second.
Specifically, if you want to talk about money, I understand whoever said 11th house and 10th house, I can understand what they're talking about. Once you get into the advanced topics, advanced dasha analysis, which is analysis of a time period, yes, you can look at the 11th house. Yes, you can look at the 10th house because the 10th house is your profession, which will indirectly bring you wealth. 11th house shows gains, so it can show you incoming wealth. But if someone asks you, and it's a very important point, is that you need to know where to go when you're asked a question, where to specifically go in a chart to find the answer. Okay, so we'll start with an Aries ascendant chart. And we're going to place Moon in the second house. Okay, so there's not many planets placed in this chart, so it will be very easy for you to see. Share screen. Where is my share screen? Can you guys see what I'm seeing? It's a chart and there's see Moon in the second house?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So this person who's come to you, he's an Aries ascendant, which means that his rising sign is Aries, right? You see 1 in the first house, right? This is their rising sign. This is the first house. Their rising sign is Aries. So it's a rising Aries chart. Now my question is, this person has come to you and wants to ask you, okay, they tell you that I work as a developer. Okay, I work as a developer, but I want to make money on the side. How else can I make money? Okay, how else can I make money? Someone asked a question by fourth house property investment. Okay, so this person has come to you and is asking you, how can I make money? Can anyone tell me how this person can make money? What house? We just discussed we're gonna go to the second house, right? We're gonna go to the second house,
Right.
and then what we're gonna look at is what planet is positioned in the second house. What planet do you see in the second house?
Taurus.
Moon. Moon.
No, sorry. Moon, yeah.
Yeah, good. So we see Moon, and you already answered my second question, which was going to be what sign do you see in the second house, right? We all agree that the second house is ruled by Taurus, not ruled by Taurus, ruled by Venus, but the sign in the second house that you see is Taurus. We all agree?
Yes.
And the moon that's positioned in the second house, the planet that's positioned in the second house is Moon, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. This person has come to you and wants to know, how can I make money? And we're not talking about profession. How exactly can I make money? How can anyone tell me how they can make money?
Would it be through Taurian ways?
Moon ways.
Yes, you can definitely say in Taurian ways. I understand you're focusing a little more on the western side of it. Definitely, Taurian ways, yes, but directly, I'm trying to give it a very direct approach. Very direct. Someone comes to you, or if you have a question yourself, how can I make money? Very direct. What planet's sitting in the second house? Moon.
Moon.
What house does it own?
Number 4. Home.
Can we all
Property.
agree that Moon owns the fourth house?
Yes.
Okay. Someone said property,
Yes.
right? Someone said property. That's pretty good. That's very good. Or what else? Okay, so if not property, then what else?
Speech.
You cannot minimize them. Okay. Sorry, what was that?
Speech.
Can make money through speech. Right now, I want to focus on the houses Moon owns, or one house that Moon owns.
From Vastu.
Who just said Vastu?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's very good. You're right. It is Vastu. I can tell Sonia has a little more experience. Why did Sonia say Vastu? Can anyone tell me why Sonia said Vastu? Does anyone know what Vastu means?
No. What is it?
Vastu means feng shui, and because the fourth house also represents
Real
real estate, and
Mm.
Sonia, can you tell me why exactly you said Vastu? Because you're right, but there's another reason why Vastu is very, very prominent.
Is it because feng shui teaches you how to set up a house, which way the door should be set, which way
You're absolutely right. But now that Sonia mentioned Vastu, I'm gonna have to take it into a little more in the direction of a little slightly more advanced, okay? The reason why Sonia is right about Vastu is because what house is Moon aspecting?
Cancer or no. I don't know.
Did we say that every planet aspects the seventh house from where it sits?
Would be the 8th house in this case.
Absolutely. And what does the eighth house represent?
Number 1.
Sorry?
Like the occult or alternative
Okay, let's stop there.
Mars.
You said occult. 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 Does Vastu and Feng Shui fall under the umbrella of occult? I think it does. I know it does. And that is why we need to mix aspects and house placements both, okay? What Sonia said is absolutely right. If someone is not a Vastu consultant, we can definitely tell them definitely you can make money from property. Okay, someone comes to you, can I become a real estate agent? Hell yes, you can, because your money is showing me the fourth house very strongly. What else can they do with the fourth house? Does anyone remember what the fourth house represents?
like the home or
Vehicles.
caregiving.
Sorry, what? Say that again?
Like the home or caregiving.
Caregiving is right. It's absolutely right. Someone comes to you, how can I make money? Fourth house is coming into play because Moon rules the fourth house. So caregiving, definitely. Caregiving, can I open up a hospital? Like, although for a hospital, the 12th house would have to come into play, but something can be done in a hospital because you're providing care. But there's a certain point that I'm looking for here, which is also very strongly connected to the fourth house.
Family, inheritance.
No, inheritance was the eighth house.
Vehicles.
Also represents vehicles. So, but if someone's asking you, how can I make money? You ask them, are you interested in maybe property or vehicles? And he tells you, I'm actually more into vehicles. My dad used to be into the business of vehicles. Oh, can I make money from vehicles? Definitely you can. Definitely you can. If someone comes to you with this kind of placement and asks you, can I buy property? Okay. Not can I buy property, but they ask you, can I make money from property? So yes, here we got two houses involved actually, okay? We got two houses involved, fourth house and the eighth house. Okay, so we're all clear that there's two houses that are strongly involved in this. One is the fourth house and the second house is the eighth house. If this person's buying properties, we're neglecting the eighth house because the eighth house is also being influenced by moon. Okay. Now here's a kicker. If someone comes to you, can I buy property? You're gonna tell them, yes, you can buy property, but if you can add some eighth house related points to that property, that would be great. What were some of the eighth house related points that were not so pleasant? Grief? Sorry, grief? Was it pain, suffering? Yes or no?
Yes.
So can we tell this person that you should focus more so on disputed properties? Repossessed properties, because it holds a heavy element of disputes. Yes?
Yes.
What I'm trying to tell you guys is that you want to look at the whole picture. Okay, you want to look at the whole picture, not just one point, because if you tell this person, yes, you can buy a property, he's definitely going to run into issues because the moon is also looking at the eighth house of issues and pain and suffering. Okay, let's change it up a bit.
And the influence of Venus, wouldn't we consider that since Venus is the ruler of second house?
Yes, you would, but that would be secondary. That would be secondary. We want to focus on the primary. Um, the things that you
So
want
what
to tell
is
the person right away. By the time Venus is going to come into play, it's going to be, that's later on. The position and the strength of Venus is going to tell you also how well he'll be able to sustain that money, but that's later on. Okay, let's wait later on. Right now, let's focus on. I know you're coming from the Western world, and therefore the rulerships and what sign Jupiter, in this case, what sign Moon was placed in, and where Venus is placed, and what sign Venus is placed in, and the dispositor of that sign, where is that placed? The Westerners do the whole chain reaction thing. I started from Western, I know, but trust me, if you follow this technique, it's going to be straight to the point. It will answer the person's question to a T. Okay. So I've now changed. Now this person has Jupiter in the second house. How can this person make money?
by teaching?
By doing what?
Teaching.
Yes. Who is this?
I'm Mamta.
Mamta, you already been studying, eh?
I'm learning on trying to read your notes and everything.
Oh, trying to read my notes. Okay, wow, great. Yes,
Yes.
studying.
Yes.
That is great. The reason studying, the reason studying is correct is because Jupiter owns the ninth house, teaching, being a teacher. And another reason why it's correct is because Jupiter itself represents teachers. You're going to see with time that when a planet gives its result, it's going to give its result in many ways. I've already told you 3 ways, okay? Another way it's going to give its result is by its significations. Basically, what Jupiter means, what Jupiter represents, and what it stands for. It is a guru, right? It's a guru, it's a teacher, mentor. So if someone comes to me with this chart, with Jupiter in the 2nd house, and Jupiter is not only sitting in the 2nd house, it is also owning the 9th house. Jupiter represents teachers. It's also owning the house of teachers. This person can not only easily make money off of teaching, because you've probably seen a lot of people who have a certain profession. I know a lot of people who have a certain profession, but they also teach on the side, right? But this person can also not only make very good money from teaching, but he can also turn it into his profession. Anyone know why? I'm just trying to make you guys think. I know it's a little fast, but this is because it's a crash course. What was the house of profession?
10th,
Correct. What aspects is Jupiter given?
5th and 9th.
So where is Jupiter looking at from its 9th aspect?
10th house.
Correct. So not only can this person make good, in fact, very good money from the 2nd house, from 9th house related activities, this person can also make it his profession, his or her profession, because it's also aspecting the 10th house. So in the beginning, when we were talking about how results are given, how we can analyze someone's birth chart, you're going to have to connect different houses.
And what about the 5th aspect?
Who is this?
Sonia.
Sonia. Okay. The 5th aspect is looking at the 6th house, right?
Yes.
What does the 6th house represent?
Service.
Right. Service. Jobs. Did we discuss it represents jobs? Service is jobs a form of service?
Yes.
So is it safe to say that this person is going to be working in the area of teaching / mentoring / guiding, but not in a form of business, in a form of service, which is job?
And Jupiter also owns 12th house.
Yes, it also owns the 12th house. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we said Jupiter's a little more complicated. It's got more than one aspect, and it owns more than one house. Okay, so Jupiter also owns the 12th house here. What was the 12th house?
Charity.
12th house was charity. 12th house. Does anyone else remember what the 12th house represented? You guys can go back to your notes, that's no problem. What if the 2nd house is empty, no planet sitting in it? Mamta will get there. Not to worry.
Spirituality.
Spirituality, okay. Can this person teach something in the area of spirituality?
I think so.
Is Jupiter also looking at the eighth house, Kevin? Was it Kevin?
Yes, if it's in the second house, it would be aspecting the eighth.
It is. We are looking right now. We are dealing with the same chart. I'm trying to find that chart. Where did it go? Okay. Okay. Do you guys see the chart again?
No.
No? Okay, maybe I've lost the screen sharing. It's all the time. Okay, we're back to this chart. Okay, so let's go over this nice and slow, because this is where things start to get tricky, but this is the crux, okay? This is, you guys need to understand this part, because this is what's going to help you. Jupiter is aspecting 5, 7, and 12. So this person can turn, he can make money from teaching, he can make money from occult services, right? Occult services, because Jupiter is also aspecting the 7th house, the 8th house from its 7th aspect, right? 5, 7, and 9, that's what Jupiter's aspect were. And it also owns the 12th house. So now we have to take all those houses into account. Okay? Step by step, how can this person make his money? He can make his money from services related to 8th house, 9th house, and 12th house activities. Can this person be an astrologer? Because astrology is seen from the 8th house, and Jupiter is
Yes.
connection with the 8th house, 9th house, 12th house. Can we say this person can make a profession and can make money from guiding others through consultations? Because the 9th house is also guidance, consultations, and mentoring people. See what I'm trying to say?
I'd say so.
Right? Now, the most important part here is, because the 8th house and the 12th houses are a little troublesome houses, because they also represent losses. Right? They represent losses, and the 8th house also represents. So, see, here's the thing. I always want to keep in mind that when and if 8th and the 12th house are coming into play, you want to be very careful when guiding someone. If this person comes to you and asks you, can I make money through guiding people? He wants to be a consultant, a technical consultant, okay? Which is fine if he wants to be a technical consultant, because technology is seen from the 8th house. But if he told you, I want to be an interior designer, I want to guide people in interior designing, 8th house has nothing to do with interior designing. You have to guide these people. If there's connection between the planet that we're discussing and the 8th and the 12th house, you want to be very, very careful, because the 8th house can also show major problems. Okay, major problems. And the 12th house, because it's coming into play here, it can represent major losses and expenses. So if this person came to me and asked me, what can I do? What can I do that will really help me? Okay, so let's go step by step. Jupiter sitting in the 2nd house, it can give you money. First, you want to look at significations. Jupiter is a teacher, guidance, counselor. Okay, so if he wants to be a counselor or a guide or a mentor, perfect. Let's go ahead with it. Now, what houses is it owning? It's owning 9th and 12th. He wants to be a guide, perfect. 9's already coming into play. Great. Now the 12th house. What do you wanna teach? And where do you want to teach? Do you want to teach in if he's born and raised in Toronto, do you want to teach in Toronto, or do you want to rather teach in a foreign country? Because the 12th house was it, did we say it was foreign lands?
I kind of thought that was the 9th.
12th house. 12th house was foreign lands. If you don't have it, you can write it down. Either that, or if he wants to teach something in the spiritual, in the area of spirituality, he can, because that's also the 12th house. Okay. 8th house. He wants to be a guide. He wants to be a consultant. 9th house is already taken care of. He wants to teach something spiritual. 12th is also taken care of. For the 8th house, we need to take care of the 8th house because Jupiter is aspecting the 8th house with its 7th aspect. Okay. Can you teach something in the area of occult? Yes, I can. I'm interested in astrology. Why don't you teach astrology? Do you know astrology? Yes, I know astrology. Why don't you teach it? It will be actually very good for you. Because all the houses are taken care of. You're providing a service, 6th house, of astrology, 8th house. 9th house is coming into play of guidance and teaching. 12th house is coming into play. Either if he's working from a foreign country or teaching clients that are sitting in foreign lands. All the houses are taken care of. Okay, so Jupiter was a little heavy because it owns it owns 2 houses and it has many aspects. When we start working on other planets, it will be a little simpler. Okay, so one more thing the Jupiter in the 2nd house can do. Can this person be a banker? And if yes, then why? If no, then why not? You're gonna have to listen to this video a few times. Anyone? Can this person be a banker? Can you work at a bank? Sonia is writing, yes, he can be a banker because 2nd house is bank and money. Correct, 2nd house is bank because it represents money. But why else am I saying banker? Anyone? Doing, like, working as a job, like he's working as a job in a bank. Sorry, you have to go. Whoa, wait. That's house. What's the recording times? 9, 10. Okay. This person can be a banker. I'll tell you why, okay? Before we move on to a different planet. This person can be a banker because bankers deal with what? Do they deal with loans? Yes, they do. Jupiter is aspecting the 6th house with its 5th aspect. 6th house, as we discussed, represents debt and loans. Okay, so the 1st house is sitting in the 2nd house, so it can give you money. Okay. Sixth house, because it's now dealing with debts and loans. That's what bankers do. And then it's aspecting the eighth house. We also discussed that the eighth house is the money of other people. Is it safe to say that bankers deal with other people's money and not their own? No, maybe? They do. Okay. Do they guide people on where to invest and where not to invest? They do. That's your ninth house. Did we also talk about investments being the 12th house? Is the 12th house coming into play here? Yes, it is. Jupiter in the second house can definitely be an investment banker or a banker. Any questions about this placement before we move on to another planet? How many people confused? Can't even see anyone. How many people confused? All good? Okay. Let's move on to something a little more simpler, okay?
Johnny, if there are two planets in the second house, then we'll have to find a common element for both the planets in all the houses. I mean, that would be so complicated.
And that is why you're gonna have to listen to this video many times, like I did when I was in your spot. Many times.
Mm.
You'll have to look at charts, you'll have to look at many charts. You are not just going to find one planet in a house, you can find up to 8 planets in a house, which is rare, but you can. I have 3 planets in my third house, my second house, sorry. And Jupiter is one of them. Which kind of explains why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not an investment banker.
And my sixth house is packed.
Sixth house is packed.
Yep.
What's going on in the 12th house?
I have nothing in my 12th house.
When your 6th house is packed and your 12th house is empty, then all of those planets are looking at what house? At the 12th house. So you want to be very careful to utilize your 12th house, or it's going to give you a lot of expense or losses, unless you are living in a foreign country. But that's advanced topic, okay? Okay, let's look at a different one. Can you guys see my screen of the chart?
No.
Okay. Try this again. Screen share. This is the best way of, I personally think this is the best way of learning. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. I personally think this is the best way of teaching, by going through different houses. Because on the internet, you're gonna find a whole bunch of stuff what Jupiter means in the second house, but unless and until you don't look at the rulerships, it will throw you off in your results and your answers will be incorrect most of the time. Okay, so let's change it up a bit. Taurus rising, and we will put. Okay, so now we have Taurus rising, and Mercury in the third house, Mercury in the second house. Do you guys see a Taurus rising chart with Mercury in the second house?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, side topic, this person can be very communicative because Mercury represents communication, and when it's sitting in this house of speech, the person can be very communicative. Like nonstop, loves to talk. Anyways, how can this person make money? If you don't feel comfortable talking, you can also just leave me a message. My 12th house is packed with fourth with 4. When 12th house is packed with 4, then it's looking at the 6th house of diseases and complications and enemies. 12th house is also the hospital and is also it's also jail. So anyways, someone's asked a question, my 12th house is packed with 4 planets. I don't know what planets those are, but 12th house packed with planets looking at the 6th house. Okay, 12th house, expenses. 6th house, diseases. 12th house, hospitals. 6th house, diseases. This person may be facing issues related to diseases, having to visit the hospital. If not, maybe in the time period of when the planet's operating, they may need to visit the hospital due to disease, or they may be facing a lot of expenses due to either their disease or someone else's in their family. Very possible. Or this person can also be working a job specifically, right? We're talking about the 12-6 axis, a little off topic, but I think it'll help you. I think we're at that point where we can jump into a little more complicated topics. You're looking at an axis, okay? With Kevin, we looked at the 6th and 12th axis. Right now, again, we're looking at the 6th, 12th axis. A lot of planets in the 12th house. 12th house. Also foreign lands, foreign country, 6th house job. This person can either work in a foreign country, away from where they were born, doing a job, or a lot of expenses, 12th house, related to 6th house, diseases, or a lot of expenses, 12th house, related to 6th house, litigation, enemies. Okay? Just trying to give you guys some pointers to think about. Okay, now we're getting into the little more complicated. I'm not going slow, I'm going a little faster because it's a crash course. Okay, it's a crash course. Not gonna go, I don't want it to go more than 2 months. So listen to this over and over again. It's gonna start making sense as to how houses connect. Back to Mercury in the second house for Taurus ascendant. How can this person make money? Someone with this charts come to you. I am having a hard time making an income. How can I make money? He's not talking about his profession. He wants to make money. Majority of the people that will come to you are not going to come to you for nirvana, moksha, or the other side of the world. They want to make money. How can this person make money? Anyone? No one? Can anyone tell me what houses Mercury owns here? No?
Third and sixth.
Close, but no. Third and sixth signs, but not houses. I'm interested in what houses. No, no, not third and sixth. Third and sixth signs, yes, but what houses do they own? What houses do the third and the sixth sign fall under or fall in?
Fourth and seventh.
No, I want to make sure we're looking at the same chart. Do you see Mercury here? Do you see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay, so the Mercury, we're still talking about money. Mercury, what signs does Mercury own? Gemini and Virgo? Mercury owns Gemini and Virgo. Gemini is right here and Virgo is right here. Okay, this is the second house and this is the fifth house. Is that clear? This person's come to me, how can I make money? Mercury represents communication. We know that, okay? But that's a little secondary. Let's talk about houses. How can you make money? Fifth house is coming into play, right? Is the fifth house coming into play here? Why the hell can't I see anyone? Is the fifth house coming into play, guys? This is the fifth house, sixth sign. The second sign of Mercury is sitting in the fifth house. So the fifth house is coming into play. Safe to say that this person can make money from the fifth house activities? Yes? Yes or no? I need to know. Can this person make money from fifth house related activities? Yes, he can. So what's fifth house? Can anyone remind me what the fifth house was? Mamta studied, so I think she can help me out here. So I'm trying to understand what the fifth house represents. Can you help me, Mamta? Or someone else.
Like hobbies or like sports and such.
Yep. Hold on a second. Hobbies is more so third house. Mamta is saying primary education. Mamta is pretty good. Yes, Mamta, it's primary education. This person can do a few things. Okay, education is good because the fifth house is primary education. This person can teach if he wants to be a tutor. Okay, but can this person, by given what we have right now, Mercury is not making any connection with the 10th house. So if someone wants to be a teacher, it's normally not a side gig, it's a full-time profession, right? Unless and until this person wants to be a tutor. Mamta, creativity, yes. Unless and until, okay? So you gotta think common sense. If someone comes to you with this chart and there is no other connection between the 5th house and the 10th house, because the 10th house is profession, and Mercury is only making connection with the 5th house and the 2nd house and the 8th house because it's looking at the 8th house, okay? If this person came to me, I would tell them you can make money from 5th house related activities. 5th house is creativity, like some of you have already mentioned in the chat, okay? Creativity. But there's another thing that the 5th house represents, and that's children. Can this person open up a child care on the side? Right? And dealing with children, anything related to children. When you're dealing with little kids, do you have to use your creativity? Do you have to get creative? Yes, you do. So your fifth house is being utilized. Can you get your family involved in this venture somehow? Because the second house is also family, and Mercury also owns the second house. What other houses is Mercury looking at? Mercury's looking at the eighth house. Conflict, issues, problems. When we think about kids and issues and problems and conflicts, what's coming to mind? Is it safe to say to this person that you should focus specifically on special needs children? Because Mercury is also aspecting the eighth house of problems, and special needs is kids who are dealing with problems, different types of problems. Yes, you can. Okay, so we're not gonna get any. I have an appointment. I have an appointment at 11:30, so we're not gonna go past 11:30 for sure today. We're just gonna do practicals today to get you guys thinking, because this right here is what's gonna get you guys going on how to approach a birth chart, not what Venus does in the fourth house. Very generic point. What Venus does in the fourth house can mean a lot of things depending on different rising signs. Move on to a different house, maybe. Is this making sense, guys, or am I just how's it? Is it making any sense? I know it's gonna be a little over the top, but I'm trying to make you guys think. Anyone want to tell me how they're feeling? Making no sense, little sense. Lance.
So I'm a little confused, but I think I'm okay. I just need to go over my notes and view
Yes.
the video again.
Yes, you will. If it was a 6-month course, I would go a little slower. Obviously a little slower, but every chart is different. So what would I look for on my chart? Lisa, once we go through this course, you will know what to look for in your chart. Depending on what your rising sign is, right? So this very house right here is your rising sign. I'm sure you already know. So you're gonna look at, I know you look at the circular chart. So you look at your rising sign. Recap. How can I tell how someone can make money? Okay, Lisa. If every chart is different, so what would I look for in my chart? You're gonna look at what's your Lisa, what's your rising sign? Okay, so Lisa is a Cancer rising. Okay. Let's do some experiments with Cancer. Cancer rising. Okay. No planets in the second house. No planets in the second house. How can this person make money? Can you see Mars in the 10th?
Yes.
Okay. How can this person make money? We're still focusing on the second house, guys and girls. Sorry, I made a little boo-boo here, my bad. How can this person make money? Okay, before we discuss how this person can make money, how about we go and see what kind of aspects Mars has? Are we back to my aspect slide?
Yes.
What houses does Mars aspect? 4, 7, and 8? Okay. Fourth, 7th, and 8th. How can this person make money? No planets in the second house. Someone was asking me in the beginning of this class, no planets, what do we do? Where do we go? Who do we ask? No planets in the second house. This person is coming to you. How can I make money? What houses is Mars aspecting? First of all, 4, 7, and 8. What house is Mars's fourth aspect falling on? No? Mamta is right. Mamta is telling me that Mars is aspecting the second house. We now know that Mars is influencing the second house. We had initially gone over this point that a planet is going to influence a house in 3 different ways, 3 main ways. One is being positioned in that house, which is what we just went over. Second is by ruling that house, and the third, actually second is by aspecting that house, and then the third point would be by ruling that house. So can we safely say that Mars is influencing this person's second house of money?
Yes.
It is. It definitely is, because we don't see any other planets. We see no other planets sitting in the second house. So we want to focus on what other planet is influencing the second house. Mars is influencing the second house with its fourth aspect. And when we look at an aspect, we start with the house it is sitting in. This is the first house, this is the second house, the third, and the fourth. Mars is influencing the second house of income or money from the 11th house. Okay? Now, please tell me how this person can make money.
Gambling.
Gambling. This person can make money through gambling. You know what? This person could definitely make money through gambling, although it's not exactly what I was thinking. Because the 5th house is also the house of speculation. So this person can definitely make money through gambling. But if a person comes to me, there's also many other combinations that can show how a person can make money through unethical activities. I personally don't like to go there, but yes, he can make money through gambling. Because the 5th house is the house of speculation. Okay. The Lord of the house of speculation has gone into the house of gains and is aspecting the second house of money. Mamta, was it Mamta who just said gambling, or was it someone else?
Yes, it was me.
Very good point. He can gamble. What's gonna happen if he gambles?
Mm, Mars is sitting in the gambling house, so I don't know. Mars is the mm, I can't say.
You're right. If he gambles, he can make money. He can make large amounts of money. First of all, what did we say in the beginning of the class? If a planet is delivering its result, it's going to deliver its results in its own way. If Mars represents conflicts and fights, do you think, first of all, do you think it can create fights and conflicts because of the money in his family? Because it's aspecting his second house of money as well as family? Yes, no, maybe. Yes.
Yes.
Is it aspecting the sixth house of enemies and diseases?
One.
Eighth aspect of Mars is falling onto the sixth house of enemies, litigation, diseases. Can we assume that if this person gets into gambling and brings money, that money can bring major conflicts in his family, possibly his kids, and diseases? Yes, it can. Now, let's talk about, although yes, your answer was right. If fifth house gambling can definitely bring you money. If you talk to an astrologer who just wants to give you a consultation, bring you money, then that's not a bad idea. But somebody with somebody who cares a little more about after what happens to you when you leave his office, this person again okay. The fifth house is also the house of developers. Okay? Developers. Developers. Like web developers. Anything, anyone who works in a company as someone who creates things, okay? Like a creator, because it's a house of creativity, children, someone who develops something, someone who creates something. Someone with this placement, can we tell this person that he should do a job in a company where he's involved in technical activities and specifically in a department that focus specifically on developing something new, creating something new, doing something creative? I'll tell you why. Mars is also technical and skillful activities. Owns the 10th house of profession. Aspecting the second house of money. Aspecting the fifth house of creativity. And aspecting the sixth house of jobs. Now you have covered all of the houses and the signification of Mars, where the person is going to face minimum to possibly no issues. It's not possible he's going to face no issues because Mars, it's his nature to give you issues. Okay, but this is where you have guided this person in a better direction. Can this person be can this person be a high school teacher? Teaching something technical. Malak, are you there? Malak is not there. Anyone else? Can this person be a high school teacher?
Uh,
This person can definitely be a high school teacher. The reason I didn't say university is because Mars is making no connection with the ninth house of higher education, but it is looking and owning the fifth house of children and education. And Mars also owns the 10th house of profession. You will never find anyone who's a high school teacher is doing high school teaching on the side. It's going to be their profession. Okay? So when the 10th house lord, which is Mars, right? You see the sign of Aries in the 10th house, sitting in the 11th house. So you can already say whatever his profession, if he does Mars related profession, he's going to get gains. 11th house is gains. Mars is aspecting the 5th house of education, primary education. Therefore, I said high school. Not post-secondary education or anything like that, because that would be the 9th house. Is aspecting the 2nd house of money, income. He will make money and income from this 11th house, looking in the 2nd house. So he will be bringing in income. Aspecting the 5th house of education. And finally, aspecting the 6th house of service and jobs. But Mars is a troublesome planet. So we want to make sure that the things that we do are related to Mars. So therefore he could be a gym teacher because Mars is physical activities. Can be a gym teacher. He could teach them something technical. Good. Let's pick something a little more simpler because we've been dealing with. Any question regarding this, guys? No questions. I think this is going to be the last example that we're going to cover before we call it a day. Aries ascendant chart. Let's talk about profession, not money. You know what? Let's crank it up a bit. This person has come to you and wants to know what he can do as a profession. I know it's a little heavy, but this is gonna help. You're gonna have to watch this a few times. This person has come to you, he's an Aries rising person, and he wants to know what his profession can be.
A general?
In general.
Because Aries is ruled by Mars. He will have that martial personality, like Napoleon. He's an Aries rising.
Look, you're absolutely correct that he has that personality, but I do not see that personality connecting with the 10th house yet. Yet. Unless and until Saturn was sitting in the first house. Why do I say Saturn in the first house? Because Saturn rules his 10th house and sits in the first house. In that case, I could say that his profession is making a connection with his first house, where his personality would have to jump in. Or if I saw Mars sitting either in the third house, from where he will be aspecting the 10th house from its 8th aspect, or if Mars was sitting in the fourth house aspecting the 10th house from its 7th aspect, or if Mars was sitting in the 7th house aspecting the 10th house from its 4th aspect, I could say that his personality, his Martian personality or Martian qualities have to be included in his profession. It's always a good idea. It's never a bad idea to add your qualities, your personal qualities, to add them to your profession. It's never a bad idea. But first, you want to focus on the planets that are making a direct link with your profession. Okay? I just randomly came up with this chart, okay? But just by looking at it, can this person own a restaurant? I did not say working at a restaurant as an employee. My question is, can this person own a restaurant and do it as a business? If yes, then why? If no, then why not? Okay. We'll go step by step here, okay? What do you serve at a restaurant? Steel plates? Sofas? Couches? No. Food.
Food.
What house is food?
Second.
Sorry, did you say what? What did you say?
Second house. Second house.
Does Venus own the second house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And Venus is looking at the 10th house. Good?
Okay.
Yes.
And that too in partnership.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm not the only person you're learning from, Mamta. I already know that.
No.
Venus also owns the 7th house of business and partnership. So let's forget about partnership for a second. Because Venus owns the 7th house of business, can we say that this person can do food related business? Yes, we're combining two houses. Very simple. One by one. Before we look at Moon, we look at Venus. You can look at whatever you want to look at first. Okay, you're looking at Venus. Venus owns the 2nd house of food, 7th house of business. So safe to say this person can do this person can do food related business. Okay. When we talk about a restaurant, guys, when we're talking about a restaurant, we have to include the 4th house, because the 4th house is also the house of caring and nourishment. Okay. Fourth house is coming into play because the planets that are aspecting the 10th house of profession are doing it from what house? They're using the fourth house as their platform. So if this person came to me, can I open up a restaurant? Hell yes, you can. There's another thing he can do. He can start catering food. But if he's catering food, if he asked me, I want to open up a huge, a nice kitchen, buy a unit, and I want to make my food there. I would tell him to do his business from home, because fourth house, which both of these planets are using as their platform, are sitting in the house of home. If you're confused, that's a very good thing. Any questions regarding this? Let's make this a little more, let's confuse the complete hell out of you guys before we finish this session, okay? How many planets do we see in the 10th, fourth house? It's 10:30. Sorry guys, I gotta go. This is your homework. You're gonna have to let me know what this person can do now with Jupiter, Moon, and Venus in the fourth house, okay?
Please send us the video. Thank you.
I'll send you the video. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.